All right, everybody, welcome to Do More Better. First episode, we're going to dive into some psychological information. We took a vote, and it was a landslide victory that the first episode would be about masturbation. It's apparently a really, really big topic.
2-0.
Absolutely.
We made it, yeah.
To be fair, masturbation might be a little bit misleading. There is sure to be an episode to follow up with this where we go into adolescent behaviors and real information,
normalcy of
actual masturbation habits and those kinds of things. We'll get to it. But really, what we're framing as masturbation, it has more to do with some internal behaviors, thoughts, emotions, and those kinds of things. Kind of came about with a story that you had with somebody. So why don't you tell that?
Right. We'll start with that. And I think he's going to be fine with me sharing this. And I'm sure he's going to watch this. So he'll be one of our dozens of viewers. And so we are both video game players. So we should probably start with that because we're probably going to bash on video games here for the next 20 minutes or so. But I was having a conversation with a friend of mine one day in the gym, and I was talking about playing video games. And lately I've been playing a video game that had gotten my attention probably too much. And I think I made the statement that, I get done playing video games and I kind of feel bad about myself. I feel guilty. And his response was, like a fairly normal response. Is like, what,
he's
why?
He's a lot younger than us.
He's a little younger, and I actually think a valid response.
Young adult.
Yeah, of like, well, why do you feel bad about, having fun? And, it was a good question and kind of sent me back for a second. And I had to kind of really do some evaluation of what is that, that I feel guilty about. And so then it hit me is that
By the way, do you think you could tell that you were self-evaluating right there? Do you think you could see it?
I don't know. I mean, it happens quickly sometimes.
Okay.
So yeah, that's a good question. I think so. He's pretty aware of it. Yeah. So I'm doing some evaluation and why is it that it bothers me so much that I might spend 2-3 hours on a video game. And so what I came to is that there are functions for behavior. So we'll probably talk about this more throughout our podcast.
We'll go into functions of behavior. We'll go into video games. We'll have 6 episodes or more on video games.
Yeah. And so what are you trying to get out of a behavior? And so I'm sitting and I'm playing a video game. What am I going for? And it's purely for entertainment. And so all I'm doing is trying to entertain myself with no real goal in mind. And it hit me. That's masturbation. It feels good. It's something that produces, dopamine. It produces pleasure. But when you're finished, your life is just the same. You have not made any movement in your life towards any direction that is purposeful or meaningful towards yourself. You've not accomplished any goals. And because it was hitting me as I sometimes play a video game that actually teaches me to play the guitar. Rocksmith, if you guys have ever played it, it teaches you to actually learn a song. And when I get done playing that game, I don't feel guilty. I actually feel fulfilled. I feel like I did something meaningful.
It's got real skill development to it. I mean, that game is absolutely teaching you to play the guitar.
It is teaching me to play the guitar. And so then it started to kind of become funny to me to talk about any behavior that is purely for the function of entertainment to be masturbation. And it grabs people's attention.
Masturbation is a great example, though, because, you start with this testosterone high that gets lessened. Testosterone, while it gets pigeonholed as a sex hormone, is very productive. I mean, it's very go out and do something. Yep. And after an orgasm, you would have an inflow of oxytocin, and that's very much a relax, satisfaction kind of neurotransmitter and hormone. And oftentimes when you talk to young people, you talk to teenagers, those kinds of things, it's about, are you really looking to be satisfied with what you just did for 6 hours? If you relate that masturbation to video games, and it's like, are you really wanting to be satisfied, or should you look at that and actually have, a healthy approach of dissatisfaction?
Right. And that's where I think the analogy becomes really important when you look at the time. Yeah. You look at the amount of time spent on it, and so the amount of 6 hours, a 6-hour masturbation session.
I think you told you that was fine to him, right? If I played for 6 hours, big deal.
I think so. And lots of teenagers I work with, might might play for 6, 8, 10 hours. You know, like lots of parents that I work with have these complaints of these kids that just come out basically to get food and that's it, and then they go right back to playing Fortnite.
Go out to go get dinner. That's when they see them.
Yep.
Get
Fortnite, Minecraft seem to be like the ones that
Minecraft. Wow, holy cow! That thing is a decade old, and like I have some teenagers that are at an age limit where I would think like Minecraft,
right?
Okay.
Minecraft. You're not playing Mortal Kombat,
right? So, I mean, something that at least seems a little more mature. But no, yeah, Minecraft.
Right.
Absolutely.
And so
those guys know what they're doing. By the way, we'll get into it all about how they're developing those games. But
exactly.
Minecraft, man. Woo.
And so I think in the end, where I stumbled on is that entertainment for entertainment's purpose is fine, and when done within a moderate amount, like something that you're doing probably in American Academy of Pediatrics was like 2 hours or less when we're talking about video games or like
that's recommendations for screen time. Like screen time gets lumped into everything that's video games, computer, television, everything.
So 2 hours or less, and then when we look at the amount of time that kids are spending just entertaining themselves, and I say kids. I should say adults. I should say young adults. I should say, it's very often, and you probably notice this too in your clinical practice, that when I go out into the waiting area, it's rare that I see parents talking to their kids or that I see the adults that I work with talking to other people in the room. They're usually scrolling.
Yeah.
And so they're usually masturbating in the waiting area, and I think
entertainment with no real value.
Entertainment with no real value. And so it's just become funny to us to describe
to call it
as masturbation, but it is entertainment with no real value, and that is almost detaching you from your life a little bit. They're just scrolling, and I'm as guilty of it as the next, and I'm working on it.
Oh no, I mean, yeah, absolutely, but also, you and I are fortunate enough with what we do. We're pretty mindful about, I'm doing this, and fair. So let's see if we can't change it.
Yeah, and I think that the theme of today will, if we're looking for what to actually do, is balance, and so I don't have enough time in my day to spend 6 hours.
It's the role of entertainment.
Yes.
What is the role of your entertainment? And it should be paired with...
Oh, it should be, yeah, that's a fair point, that the entertainment should be a reward for your day, and so that's one of the things we've talked about a lot. I feel like off camera is that there's a big difference between waking up in the morning and deciding I'm going to get drunk today,
right,
and starting to open a bottle and just go at it, and waking up in the morning and flipping on your Xbox and going at Fortnite, and waking up in the morning and just getting high and going through your day, and that's what you're doing with your day. Now there's a big difference between wake up in your morning, get up early, do some exercise, accomplish some goals, go to class, go to school, get some homework done, having pleasant interactions with your family, your friends, and then at the end of the day, you do something for an entertainment value that is a reward.
Yeah, it's grandma's rule, right? Like you pair a piece of cake with the fact that you ate your peas earlier,
Yeah, it's grandma's rule. Yeah, there's a difference. We stumbled on this. Or I'm pretty sure I'm going to take credit for this one.
All right, yeah.
The what are you celebrating? Right?
Absolutely, no. Take credit for it. Go for it.
Oftentimes I think if we're just entertainment value, that's done for purposes of a celebration, and we often ask the question, what is it you're celebrating? What have you accomplished, and what are you celebrating? So if you're playing Fortnite, that's a celebration for something. What are you celebrating? If you're, I'll go so far as to say, like, it depends on what state you're in, whether or not it's legal. If you're smoking a joint, if you're living in Colorado or living in Washington State, or I've lost count of the states it's legal in, and I'm fine with it.
It's a real nebulous situation.
It's like, don't cross the border. Don't. If you are celebrating in that way, what are you celebrating? And if you can identify that, I'm probably okay with it.
Yeah, and I think it's a good time to point out, none of the behaviors we're talking about necessarily we're looking at like good, bad, evil, anything like that. You have a teen, and you can almost expect masturbation is a behavior that you're going to have to deal with as a parent because you've got a teenager. But I think we're looking at it in the context of what is it that this relationship is that you have with that entertainment, and what is the entertainment, and what is the entertainment paired with that looks like actual productive, meaningful behavior for yourself.
Exactly. I think we were talking about this. We've been talking about this being our first episode for a while now. I think it's just talking about masturbation for 20 minutes sounded funny to us. So of course
it still does.
I looked into literature. I'm trying to see is like, do we see much as far as like, because really the main culprit seems to be video games.
Yeah. I mean, I would say even still though, I mean, binge watching Netflix, like,
yes.
And to be fair to everyone, we've talked about this before too. I mean, the entertainment has gotten better, not only more accessible, but it's better. I would argue that, you know, it takes any more for a movie to come out where I'm like, oh wow, that movie's really doing something. I mean, every Marvel movie can basically be summarized into the same movie, but the entertainment is not only accessible, but it's good. I mean, we joked about Minecraft 10 minutes ago, but it's like, well, those guys really know what they're doing when they put out an expansion or an update to Minecraft. I mean, there's a lot of science, there's a lot of psychology behind it. I mean, the entertainment is, you know, what would you say, by the way, to a teen that said, you know, this why do I need to pair that entertainment with anything when this is good? Why not just entertain myself all the time? I don't need to do the other stuff.
Right. Yeah. Right. It's a good question. It's hard to argue with that.
It's really hard to argue with it because there's an element of truth to it, you know.
From what I know of the research too, we don't see much of a relationship with the amount of time spent playing video games and depression, and that I thought that would be fairly.
You see negative behavior, you see all kinds of things like that, but
you see negative behavior, but what you do see is when you have high addictive behaviors to electronics, then you see a relationship to depression. Yeah. So when you have trouble quitting, when you have increased tolerance, what I mean by that is like you need more for it to be fun, or you need like, hey, I was playing Minecraft, that was fun, but Grand Theft Auto where I'm beating on a hooker and shooting them, like that's more fun to me now. So now you're seeing increased tolerance. So all the things you would see with drug addiction, that's where you see the connection to depression. And it's there, it's pretty obvious. Yeah. And maybe we should get into like, why do we think this is happening?
One, it's accessible. I mean, people are going to do behaviors that are accessible. Two, it's pretty good entertainment. I mean, you know, when somebody says they binge watched a show on Netflix, I mean, how often do they say a show where you're like, that's absolute crap? Like typically those shows are pretty good, but I think it comes with. I don't think people have yet to stumble on the reality that the way you know chocolate ice cream is good is because you ate broccoli.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like the way you know happy is, you know, sad. The way you know productive is because you know entertainment.
Pain is because of pleasure.
But if you're sitting there thinking, why would I want to be productive? It's you don't understand the pairing of the two in the first place. That your entertainment makes you productive, and your productive makes your entertainment, and those two things get lost eventually. Your entertainment's going to lose its value.
Habituation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So habituation is an idea that we learned in graduate school a long time ago. Is basically like a cookie's great, but once you've had 1,000 of them, that 1,000th one is not near as good as that first one.
Habituation, satiation gets called a lot of things in psychology.
Oh, did I describe satiation there?
For the most part,
no, habituation is more when something becomes background noise. Yeah. Satiation would probably be a better description of that one. Yeah, like I think too. We go to like I think we often talk about evolution too in this too, and how that has a part to play here too. Is what the human brain is designed for is to survive, and so it just so happens that Call of Duty actually works really well with that. You know, give it entertainment, give it a goal,
and entertainment that is directed. I mean, it's you go here, you do this, you achieve this, you rank up this way. You know, it's got directives to it.
Yeah, a lot more directives than life has.
Absolutely. Always love martial arts for little kids just because it has all the directives. You go white belt to yellow belt to whatever.
Very clear goals.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Right, which is probably a good segue into like what do we recommend?
What do we recommend for?
Don't masturbate so much.
No, I think what we recommend is if you hear this and you have entertainment in your life, there's nothing wrong with having entertainment in your life. It would come down to, well, We'll end the episode with a quote from the rapper T.I., which we may not end every episode with a quote from a rapper, but their quote is, "Some of y'all are not where you want to be in life, and yet you party every weekend. What is it that you're celebrating?" And I think that's where we end the episode of, what is it that you're celebrating?
Right.
What does this behavior have to do with?
Right. And so for a parent, if you're raising a human being, you want to be sure to raise a human being that knows how to accomplish some goals to get some entertainment at the end of the day. And so if you're noticing that your kid is in their rooms, spending 4 to 8 hours entertaining themselves, I'd be asking a question to yourself: is this really developing a healthy human being? What you're probably developing is an addict at that point. And I would hope that's not what you want to do. That's what the video games want you to do. Start getting a little nefarious in their understanding of you're developing a healthy human being, a healthy adult who knows how to accomplish goals and knows how to celebrate those accomplishments. If they're waking up and the first thing they're doing is checking their smartphone, or the first thing they're doing is turning on their Xbox or their PlayStation,
or the first thing is they're going into the shower and masturbating, and it's like, man, that's just a really compulsive behavior, what it looks like from a teenager.
It's interesting, is it feels like a parent or an adult would notice that that's a problem. Went straight in, sort of masturbating.
But see, I think that's the point. I think if you paired that behavior with what you saw as productivity, you can't shape that behavior. As a parent, you really cannot go after the fact that your teenager is engaging in a behavior like masturbation, but you can go after, they went to wrestling practice and they went to field hockey practice and they got their homework done, and you pair all of that together.
Right. They clean the bathroom. I agree. I actually would not recommend the parent actually even try to stop masturbation.
It's so going to
not gonna
pun intended, well. It's going to blow up in your face.
What do we say? They realize they have a PlayStation 21 sitting in between their legs, and they haven't been playing with it. It
beats every reinforcer you can come up with.
You're not going to beat it, but you can beat the PlayStation, and you can beat the iPad, and you can beat the iPhone. You can set it up so that those are rewards.
I'm curious how red our faces are throughout this entire episode.
But you can do that, and you can do that for yourself too. And so if you find out the majority of your day is spent entertaining yourself, so what I would say is sit down and write out some things you need to accomplish. What do you care about in your life, and what are you doing? Now, if you care about prestiging in Call of Duty, we'll probably have to explain what that is. But if you care about prestiging in Call of Duty, yes, make it happen. But I would ask the question: is on your deathbed, is that what you're going to say? Yeah, I did. I prestiged in Call of Duty, or like, you know what? I played Minecraft for 40 hours one month. What are you going to feel good about saying it? I don't think that's going to be it.
Yeah. It really is. It just comes down to your entertainment, and whatever you consider to be a celebration is probably not the problem. It just comes down to, what are you celebrating?
What are you celebrating? Yeah. And being a parent that sets up a human being to be able to accomplish things and know when to celebrate.
Yeah. So if you haven't already, click like and subscribe, and we will see you.
We'll probably send us questions too.
Yeah, absolutely. Send us questions. You can send us questions. You can, message us on Instagram.
Anything you would like us to talk about?
Absolutely. Comment section. We'll check those out. But after that, see you guys next episode.
Do more better.
Do more better. Don't forget to click like and subscribe. You can follow us on our Instagram at DMB Psychology for updates and to submit any comments or questions. You can also find us on our website, domorebetter.buzzsprout.com, where we have info on all episodes as well as our donations and merchandise links if you'd like to support the podcast. You can search for us on YouTube and all major podcast platforms under Do More Better.